Hey my friends, it's all about baklava. Now what inspired me to do this recipe and share it with y'all is because this is a surprise for my daughter. She has a birthday coming up. She's taking a small trip. I've been baking goodies for her and the 3 children's trip. But what she doesn't know is I'm slipping in her favorite sweet, and that is baklava. Now, my Aunt Lucille, my dad's aunt, which is my great aunt, they're Sicilian on my dad's side. And so I grew up, and during the holidays, we were treated with cruxials and baklava. Y'all, the goodies, I can't even remember half of them. There was this one like tart that she would bring, and I can't remember the name of it. But over all the years, I have attempted to perfect her baklava. Okay, and there's many variations of this. Mine is amazing, but it's not Aunt Lucille's amazing. I think it was just that sweet touch that she did that set hers different from mine. But the word is more intimidating than the actual of making it, okay? It just takes a little bit of time. So, what I'm going to do, the first thing is I've got to get our simple syrup going first, okay? But I'm going to drop the camera because I'm going to show you what I have done with my phyllo dough. This is the most critical. You cannot let your phyllo dough dry out. I pulled mine out of the freezer last night. I let it stay in the refrigerator all day, and I just now pulled it out. So let me show you how I keep mine moist. A damp towel. Okay, you don't want it drying out. So this is just a damp towel that I have. And I bashed it because I want to ensure that my phyllo stays moist. Okay? Okay, we're going to make the syrup right now because it's really the first thing that's got to go on. 1 cup of water. 1 cup of granulated sugar. We're going to give it a good stir. And we're going to go over to the stove. Okay? I'm on a medium heat. I want to get this syrup dissolved before we add the other 3 ingredients. This is critical to baklava. You really want your simple syrup to go ahead and heat, boil, and reduce, and I will show you, and we will set this in the refrigerator. Your syrup needs to be cold when we pour it on our baklava that comes out the oven. Okay, so that's why I say this is critical to do this first. Now that my sugar and water is dissolved, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of honey. So now there is our honey. To balance the sweetness, a pinch of salt. And 1 cinnamon stick. And we're going to stir this to combine. I want it to come to a boil. And I want it to low boil for 5 minutes. We're going to reduce this. Now, as we wait for that simple syrup, in this bowl is 1 pound of very fine ground walnuts. You can use pecans. My daughter likes the walnuts, and I put them in my food processor, and I ground them very well. This is 1 pound, but you start off with 1 pound of whole walnuts, okay? I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon. And we're going to get this well and combined. Baklava is really easy. I think the name just intimidates, but it's very easy. It just takes a little time. You know, time to assemble. So we want to get this well and combined. Oh yeah. We have reached the boil state. I don't want it to boil over. Make sure your fire is turned down at this point. once my eye cools down some, I'm sitting on about a number 2. It will sit here and do just a light boil for 5 minutes. See how I'm working that eye? Let's see if we're good to walk away. Okay, we're safe to walk away. Now back over here, I have 2 sticks of melted butter. Now this is salted butter. You can use unsalted. And what I'm going to do, oh, I don't like that brush. Wrong brush. This is a heavy brush. And I sure don't want to tear my phyllo. Oh, and in our phyllo package, you get 2 rolls. I'm only working with 1 roll, guys. This is a 9 by 13. And you want to get it liberally coated in melted butter. Go down the sides. Okay, now it's time to get our phyllo sheet. And they're very, very delicate, guys. Perfect. I'm gonna lay it in just like this. Two sheets. And a little butter. Now, I used to have a little spray bottle, and I would put my butter in a spray bottle. And over time, I don't know what happened to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to heavily coat, oops. See, I almost forgot. You've got to keep this covered. And we're going to coat the bottom of this phyllo. You don't want to rub. You just want to kind of dab it in. And you definitely want a soft brush. I really need a pastry brush. Perfect. Okay, 2 more sheets. So here's the first of the second layer. And here's the second. Hey, bud. And I normally don't open up the second package, guys. I just go with what the first package is. Okay. All right, let's cover this back up. Simple Syrup's doing good. And you notice I like to go down the side first, because if it's going to tear, I have found that it tears around the edge. I've learned this from lots of, I'm not going to say failures, but lessons. And you see I go side to side. I don't go against the fold. And you don't need to soak it in butter, but you need your phyllo dough moistened in butter. So we have 4 sheets down, right? And on every second sheet, I have added butter. Now we're going to repeat this again with 2 more sheets. All right, that one's got a little tear. That is fine. Because, guys, we got so many layers, you'll never know if there's a mess up. I promise you. All right, we're going to get this covered back up because it is drying out. Was that, oh, did y'all see that? I almost miscounted. And you see how delicate these sheets are? All right, let's fix this one. And let's get this towel back on here. Now we rocking. Now this is number 6. And this is where we're gonna start adding our nuts. So we did butter on the bottom, 2 sheets of phyllo, butter. 2 sheets of phyllo, butter. 2 sheets of phyllo, and this is the butter. And get you a good pastry brush. You're gonna need it. I've said that for years, and I tend to always use this orange one. One day I'll listen to myself. Okay, now it's time to add a layer of our nuts and sugar and cinnamon. And you don't have to go heavy because we're gonna have many, many layers. A little bit right here, and we're good. Now, we're gonna do 2 sheets, butter, and nuts. We're gonna be doing nuts on every second sheet. Don't you tear on me. I've got a fold up here on the front that I've got to figure out what's going on. Okay, let's get this in here. All right, I'm gonna pull from this side and see if that's where my problem is. There it is right there. Okay, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna take this and turn it over and see if I can get out of that fold. Oh yeah, that's much better. So maybe some moisture hit the bottom. Okay, there's my second. We're gonna do butter and we're gonna do nuts. And we're gonna do this all the way up until I have 5 to 6 sheets left, and then we're gonna cap it. Now once I get butter on this, that'll keep it from drying. We've got to go back to the stove. We have one more step, and we got to get that simple syrup put in the ice box quickly. Okay, let's go back to the stove. Fire is off. I am adding 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Perfect. And this is going to go into the ice box. It's time to put our little layer of nuts. So to keep from boring y'all, I can cut the camera off. You get the gist of it, and we'll go back over it. We'll do one more. Pull from this way. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to pull from that way. Now, I'm just going to butter. Remember, edges first. Put our little small amount of nuts down, and then go back and repeat with 2 more layers. And then when I get down to 5 to 6 phyllo sheets, that's when we're going to top it. Now this will bake in a 350 degree oven 50 to 60 minutes. But I'm not going to leave you holding because there's a trick that we got to do to cut this to make it baklava. Okay, we are done. We've got 4 or 5 phyllo sheets left, and they're starting to want to stick on me. So I'm going to have to be extremely careful, and I'm probably going to have to patch this one. There's no turning back at this point. But that's fine. I can patch it because we still have quite a few layers. And all you baklava expertise, don't say, well, that never happened to me. Because you know it did. That's all right. We're going to make this work, guys. Oh, and I used all my nuts. Y'all, I have been in this kitchen all day long. I'm just trying to get this one layer peeled. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to peel it because I don't want to tear the prettiness because we've got to make a cut, okay? And I don't want to mess up the cut. So what I'm going to do is, don't do what I'm doing right now. I am going to just lay it on there. I'm going to go a little heavy with the butter, which is fine, because we've got to be able to make our cuts. Remember, I told y'all, I'm a simple baker. I don't cut the camera off. Because if you never made it before, give it a try. Don't let it intimidate you. It's all fixable. But the key is to get that syrup cold. That is going to be the key. And I'm just going to come in. And then what that butter's going to do, it'll absorb through those sheets. And there was 4 sheets, by the way. But I was not going to open another package of phyllo for 2 sheets. No way. That stuff can be expensive. My daughter is going to be so tickled. It may not win an award, guys, for beauty, but the taste, what? Want to make sure I'm coating the top. There's no dry spots. Definitely don't want any dry spots. Oh, there's one right there. And I just run my hand lightly over and I can find where the dry spots is. See? You'd never know. Never know. And I almost used the whole 2 sticks of melted butter. Takes a lot of butter, guys. Okay. Now comes the cutting part. And yes, you see me putting butter on my hands because I'm going to have to touch the phyllo so it doesn't pull away. I'm going to go down the middle first. Now I'm using a fillet knife because it's thin and I find that it, and the reason why I'm doing the butter is so the phyllo doesn't stick to my hands. I found that it gives me a clear cut all the way through. Oops. Just like that. Now, make sure I'm going to do another cut here and another cut here. Right down. Now we got another cut. To achieve the baklava cut, you've got to come in and let's see, how am I going to do my cut? I think I'm going to go this way first. You're going just the opposite. Now, you could cut it in squares, most definitely. But this gives it a smaller bite because this stuff is very, very rich. Now that I got that corner done, I'm going to go ahead and just start, whoops, get my fingers off of that, start slicing. And I always cut the first corner because that's the corner that I'm going to pull from so I don't tear it. Now, you could have went this way, but if you make you a little cut right here, you know how it's hard for that first piece? Aunt Lucille said if you did that, it would allow you to sneak that first piece and then everything else fall into place. Now don't cut yourself. Y'all noticed I haven't edited this camera? Nope. I don't know which way that went. All right, this is going to be my, let's see. I'm going to cut like this. Take that one off. I'm going to cut this one in half to match the other side. Just like that. All right, let's put some more glue on it. Oh, I don't want them nuts sticking out. Okay, 50 minutes to an hour. You got to bake it. Now, you could have cut them smaller. Look at this. Y'all, this is going to be so good. And you see, look. Look. You can't even tell the boo-boos. No. Okay, guys, it cooked 50 minutes. My syrup is cold. And this is when you want to start putting your syrup on. You want a hot baklava and you want cold syrup. And you don't want to miss one piece. You hear that sizzle? And as this cools overnight, it's going to all come together and be so decadent. Now this is very, very rich. Oh yeah. Now I'm going to use all of this syrup. Let's finish it off. Every last drop. Now the hardest part is setting it to the side overnight. I will not be picking these pieces up until in the morning. So I will see you guys in the morning, and I will plate these up in muffin cups, like a cupcake muffin cup, because they're sticky. And that's the best way I have found, is to put them in those little cupcake paper cups. And that way, you know, if you're serving them at a party, you know, everybody can grab them one. But it's also easier to transport because you can just stack those little cups with the pieces of baklava in them. Put a lid on and you're good to go. So in the morning, we will scoop them out. Guys, these turned out amazing. Take one more look. Beautiful. And take a look. Now, is some of them large? Yes. They really need to be that size. So you could actually cut those in half. But there is 2 layers of little cups. Let me show you. Good morning. What'd you think of them? Guys, I've waited to do my sample since last night. Now, before we get into the quality control, let me suggest, ooh, my hands are sticky, hang on. Let me suggest, make your simple syrup before you ever start doing your baklava. Because I noticed that my window of getting that syrup cold was very slim. I almost considered putting it in the freezer. So moving forward, and maybe I was slow because I was trying to make a video and try to be as precise as I could be. But if it's your first time, make your syrup ahead of time. Get it in the ice box, the refrigerator. And I know some of you call it refrigerator. On the front end. Therefore, you know that it is cold. Because that's the most critical, really, is making sure that cold is on top of that hot baklava directly coming out of the oven. Because it's going to get sticky, but in a good way. Remember the corner piece I told you about? Look at them layers. It almost looks like a pecan pie. Here we go. This is so decadent. And now it's rich. Like, really, a half of this would be fine. Here's the back side of the layers. See why I said use those cups? Out of this world. Pecans, that's my favorite. My daughter, walnuts. But, I got a fresh cup of coffee. Here's the peanut butter cookies, guys. Because I had a lot of comments. And this is so rich, you don't talk with your mouth full. Lippy. Okay. Woo! You could cut those pieces like this and you talk about a party. You'd have enough for a big party. But here's the cookie. Okay? Let's kind of go back to yesterday's video. In the comments, you guys had said that y'all were going to make it. One of you young ladies actually made it. Mine only baked 12 minutes. I pulled them out. I allowed them to sit on that cookie sheet 1 minute to 2 minutes because they're going to be really soft. And then when you move them to the cooling rack, they're going to be soft and you're going to be like, they're not setting up. But they do set up once they cool. Now see, that's a cookie. Look at that soft, decadent cookie. I have no idea where the Cookie Monster went, but... So, baklava, peanut butter cookies, and a decadent cup of coffee. Yeah, that's all you need. And your day will be wonderful. So I hope you enjoyed my recipe of making baklava. Yesterday's recipe of peanut butter cookies. No flour, no leveling. And they work every time. Just make sure when you see them really soft, like, uh-oh, you ain't done nothing wrong. I promise you. But I will leave the recipe of the baklava in the video. So where it says the title, there's a little word that says more. If you click on that word that says more, a drop-down box is going to appear. And that's where you'll find my email, the link to my website, the recipe, my mailing address. My description is extremely slim, to the point. So you can't miss the recipe. It's going to be right there. As soon as you hit that more, the recipe will drop down. But make a note. Make your syrup ahead of time. Okay? Especially if this is your first time. Normally, I'm not worried about it, but I went extremely slow. Of course, you know, working with that phyllo, y'all, that roll gave me a headache because you don't want it to dry out. And mine possibly sat out a little bit too long when I was gathering everything for the video and caused it to dry. But as you can see, it worked just perfect. And that's it. That is my version of, I don't know where my rag went. My hands are sticky every time I can't stand something sticky on my hands. That was my version of baklava. In memory of my Aunt Lucille. What an amazing lady. Talented baker. And I only got a pinky of her talent. But I'll take that pinky all day long. So I hope your Friday is going well. I hope it's blessed. And don't know when we'll see you. But it'll be Saturday or Sunday. I know for sure. Because we got to get out in that garden. But as always, stay safe. Stay well. And God bless. And I got to get this packaged up along with those cookies because my daughter's on her way. Bye, y'all.